Hi everyone. Hola, 안녕하세요. Have you always wanted to learn a new language? You may be retired and would like to pursue a new hobby of speaking a new language. You may be traveling a lot on business or for pleasure and would like to speak the language of the people you're visiting, or simply you want to learn a new language. Then you're in luck because I'd like to talk about my experience of learning new languages. Before going further into the topic, I'd like to share a little bit of my profile, language profile, so to speak. I speak four languages right now. I speak Korean, English, French, Spanish, and have just started learning how to speak Mandarin. Learning a language takes a lot of time and dedication, but it can be done with right strategies. My journey of learning languages goes back to 30 years ago when my family decided to move from Korea to Canada. Having studied English for 6 years prior, I thought I would be speaking some English when we arrived in Canada. However, it turned out that it was only my imagination. When we arrived in Canada, I couldn't speak anything, I couldn't hear anything. So, what went wrong? And that's exactly what I'd like to talk about in this video. So, no further ado, let us find out what those 5 common mistakes are. Mistake number 1. Drum roll, please. People may think that they are too old to learn a new language. I was almost 20 years old when I started learning English in Canada. At the time, people would tell me that it would be too late for me to learn a new language at my age. But I did it anyways because I had always wanted to speak English. And looking back, I'm so glad that I didn't listen to them, but followed my heart. When you perceive an obstacle, it means that you just need more practice and a little bit more time. One of my favorite English sayings is where there's a will, there's a way. Mistake number 2. People tend to take too much time choosing which program to use to learn a new language. There are so many excellent apps and programs, and you may be so overwhelmed not knowing what to choose. My advice to you would be just go with the one that is right for you, that you like. You like it because it's easy to follow and it's interesting to you, and you feel like learning more and more about the language. So go with one and just get started. Mistake number 3. People tend to take grammar a little bit too seriously. So going back to my story, I introduced to you earlier. What happened? Why I couldn't speak anything despite my learning English for 6 years? What happened was the language instruction that I received in Korea was mostly grammar based. I learned the hard way that knowing the grammar and speaking the language are two different things. Mistake number 4. People tend to be too shy to practice the language. In order to speak the language, you have to practice in front of others, in public, in a public setting. I know it's easier said than done because it is so embarrassing to speak in front of others, especially when you're not sure how it's gonna go. I had so many embarrassing moments and so many humiliating situations because I didn't know how to speak the language. But thinking back, it was those moments of trial and error that brought me where I stand today. So put yourself out there and speak up. Mistake number 5. People don't put in consistent actions when it comes to learning a new language. Learning a new language is like acquiring a new habit. So you want to practice every day, probably I would say 5 to 10 minutes every day. It's going to be a long game, like running a marathon. So keep a nice pace and go slow at the beginning when the learning curve is steep. Through persistent practice, I'm sure that you will get there before you know it, and you'll be so happy when you do cross the finish line. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it 2 thumbs up. Click subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of the future content that I'll be putting out. And please share your thoughts so that I know how to improve and how better help you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Adios. 안녕히 계세요. Bye guys.